Hey, thanks for joining us here at yourlocalnote.com. We've got another vidcast for you, and we are featuring for this vidcast the Valkyrians. We've got Cris and Lou. They'll be talking about the music and also the careers. We'll be talking with them in just a few minutes. Just want to remind you, do a little homework here. We've got a newsletter that Mike puts together, does a great job with it. You can get it by just contacting us. Send us an email at contact@yourlocalnote.com. We're streaming 24/7, nothing but the best music from the Philadelphia area, and you can bring it with you anywhere you go by downloading our free app. That's right, just go to the app stores, type in YLN, download it for free, and you can take yourlocalnote.com anywhere you go, and you can also listen to the best Philadelphia music as we stream 24/7, okay? And don't forget, you can check out where your favorite bands are playing with our concert calendar. All that and more on yourlocalnote.com. All right, coming up next, we'll talk with Cris and Lou, but let's first play a song. It's from their album, Scent of Breathlessness. The song is called Crawl Into My Soul on yourlocalnote.com.
I'll take my clothes off and strip it bare. I'll wipe off my makeup and let down my hair. I invite you to see everything no one else may see. I invite you to know everything there is to know about me. I'll let you in, 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 I'll let you in. I'll let my guard down and drop my mask. Let you read my history with all its darker parts. I may call you in my darkest hour, or just to brag when I feel strong. You may call me on my bullshit, and I hope you tell me when I'm wrong. I'll let you in, 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 I'll let you in. And it feels so good, just like warmth on a winter's day. It feels so good to be true. It feels so good, like the pain that went away, like there's nothing in this world we cannot do. And it feels, it feels, yeah, it feels.
That is the Valkyrians. The song is called Crawl Into My Soul from their album Scent of Breathlessness. We've got Cris and Lou joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, tell us a little bit about your band, how you got together. I'm sensing a little bit of an accent that's not really a Philadelphia accent.
Not quite,
so
no.
we can give a little background on how you got here and why you picked the Philadelphia music scene to break into and try to develop your music career.
Sure.
All right. So let's start off with the band. How'd you get together and why the name?
Well, my name is Cris Valkyria, and I was playing in Philadelphia, kind of solo and with a few different bands. Wasn't quite really getting the sound that I had in the back of my head. And at some point, I kind of just played solo for a while.
Okay.
To, hone my craft. And then I came across this drummer who said that he wanted to play with me, and we played a couple of shows together, just guitar and drums. And he said, I know this really great bass player. And he brought in Lou. And he was a really great bass player. And turned out he played many, many instruments. And Lou and I really clicked musically. And we started co-writing. And we both contributed to the songs on the album. And we've been playing together ever since. And we have a children's music duo out there too. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right.
that's something else we can promote.
Sure.
Later on.
We'd love to.
Because we've had a number of teachers who come in and their side project is music in a band, and we have one group that really does. They include their kids from their classes in their videos and stuff like that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So if it's about the area and it's about music.
Why not?
Yes,
Why not?
absolutely. But we'll concentrate on the Valkyrians first. How's that?
Indeed.
All right. So, how did you get here to Philadelphia?
I came here about 9 years ago. I had met my son's father in Australia, and he got a job in Princeton, and came for love, basically.
Okay.
Yes, that didn't quite turn out as it should, but it was. I have a beautiful son, and Philadelphia is a very nice town.
So you were originally from Australia?
No, I'm from Norway.
Oh, you're from Norway?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I've traveled quite a bit.
Obviously. Okay.
Yes.
But you are settled here in Philadelphia?
Yes, I am.
Okay, very cool. And Lou, you're not from this area either, are you?
I was born here. I was born in the Bucks County area.
Were you really?
But then I moved to Italy and then came back again. And
Okay.
Went back to Italy again and came back. So I forgot English twice.
Okay.
But I learned it again twice. But I've been here for most of my life.
Okay.
In America, so I've been living here for quite a bit.
But quite a contrast, Italy to Bucks County.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we have. I have a very large, wonderful family, and thank God for my family. We are quite close. So whether it's overseas or here, we're very close to each other.
Okay.
So most of my life was, I guess I cut my life into here.
Okay.
But being in Italy, it's still, when you go back, it's almost like as though I haven't missed a beat.
Right.
Even if I had a few years of a drought of not going there, it's amazing.
And if you don't mind me asking, what part of Italy?
We're from the Molise region, right next to Abruzzo.
Oh, okay.
So, we're like 2 hours east of Rome.
Okay.
In the Apennine region.
Okay, yeah. My family came, my mom's side of the family came from the Naples area.
Napoli, yeah.
Yeah, up in that area. And we're trying to figure out where it is. My mom's into the Ancestry.coms, doing all that stuff.
You should go.
Yes, my wife has been there, and that's something she wants us to do is go. And her family's from the northern Italian section. We're in northern Italy, so that's quite. I find it interesting, obviously, for selfish purposes. All right, let's get back to your music. Let's talk about the song "Crawl Into My Soul." What is that about?
It's written about intimacy on a much deeper level than just a physical intimacy.
Right.
Bearing your soul for someone is, very intimidating and
scary. Yes.
Yeah. Right. And actually, as a psychologist, I find that very, very many people are extremely enclosed and they have issues with actually just really opening up. And you get to that point where you give a little bit of yourself, but not everything. But it can be so liberating to just say, this is me.
Okay.
This is everything, and I'm not hiding anything, ugly or pretty.
Is this a song you wrote all by yourself, or is this a collaboration with Lou?
This is my song.
Okay. Now, do you find yourself, are you a type of songwriter that needs to experience what you write? Because there are some people, and this is, I always find the most fascinating about our interviews when you're talking to the songwriters. Some love to tell stories, and they'll take maybe something, a little bit, what they experience, and then put a whole story around it. And some people are like, nope, if I don't experience, I can't write it. So where do you fall into that writing style?
Definitely put a lot of myself into, and my own experiences into my music. In fact, I think 4 of the songs on the Central Breathless album are written right after my mom died.
Okay.
So they're very kind of a therapeutic, cathartic kind of, with very different subjects or topics, but they're about that loss.
Right.
That whole process of grieving.
Well, there's a whole process to it. You're right. There is, the joy of the good memories, and then, of course, the sense of loss. Lou, is it intimidating that you're writing with a psychologist and maybe worried that she may be analyzing some of the stuff that you're trying to write?
Not at all. I wonder if I intimidate her, actually, sometimes.
Oh, really?
But no, we go, it's joking aside. We go back and forth quite a bit. Our styles are quite different and diverse, and I think that's the beauty of the chemistry between us, because we don't have the similar styles.
Okay.
My whole life, I felt in my head has been nothing but a big composition of music and song. I feel like music never leaves me all the time.
Okay.
Even when I sleep. So I always tend to put the music in front of my song, in front of the experiences. So I tend to use the words as a music note as well.
Okay.
So it's almost like, wow, everything to me is just one big, gigantic melody.
So you both, are you writing separately, then come together and try to form songs?
We've had most of the songs on this album, a lot of these songs are very old for me. It took a really long time to kind of get the right band together and, meet the right people and get the right production. And so, this has been 7 years in the making for me. But when Lou and I have progressed tremendously as co-writers, not only for the children's music duo where we write all the songs together,
right?
But also for Valkyrians, we've Skyped written a song once.
We've Skype written 2 songs together.
Yeah.
We've put, I went off and just said, here's a bunch I've written on my own, and what do you think? And then likewise with Cris.
Yeah, and then we kind of fix and
modify
fiddle,
them.
So very collaborative.
With both of you, there has to be a tremendous amount of trust.
Yes.
When you're handing basically your baby over to them, and then you each have to critique or say, I like this but don't like this.
Yeah.
How is it? Obviously, as you get to know each other more and more and work together more and more, it's easier. But how difficult was it in the beginning?
In the beginning, you try to be, diplomatic, and you're not quite getting maybe the musical signature as much. And you're trying to kind of, at least I'm the one who's going to sing most of the leads, and trying to what does he mean in this?
Right.
Singing. But then, now we're, he starts a sentence, I finish it. And so it was really evened it out, right?
It's interesting because when I first heard her EP, I'm going, wow, this is excellent material, and I think I can easily meld into it. So it was easy for me to play that stuff. And then I was like, as we started testing each other's barriers, I felt like I was revealing my soul a little bit to Cris as well.
Right.
And it's one thing I always felt very guarded in my life, is just revealing my own personal, soul. Mm-hmm. And she accepted it rather quickly, and to me that allowed me to show her everything, or at least show her most of my stuff.
Okay, very good. Influences, musical influences.
I have been all over the board. I've had periods where I've only listened to, the old Billie Holidays and Nina Simone, and I've had folk periods where I only listened to Melanie Safka, John Baez, and Bob Dylan. Definitely had a lot of the classics. The Beatles and Rolling Stones were always in my vinyl record player when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. My actually first poster over my bed, when everybody in my cohort were listening to, I'm like aging, telling my age now, they're all listening to New Kids on the Block. Okay. And those kind of like the beginning of the boy bands.
Yes.
I was there with my Elvis DVDs.
Okay.
I guess there were videos at the time. And I had Elvis posters above over my bed and stuff. So always kind of just been looking into the
right.
real classic,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And right now I listen to a lot of alt rock, some softer stuff as well.
Okay.
Still have a lot of old music on my iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's changed. Vinyl, iPhone. Lou,
Vinyl.
influences?
Yeah, it's it really is everything. It's classical to, death metal. I just like it all. I guess the medium of the streams would be the alternative punk scene.
Okay.
So, I mean, when it comes to, bass playing and so forth, I was influenced by the John Entwistles and Jack Bruce and Geddy Lees of the world.
Right.
Love all the classic guys. I started with them because I had older cousins who would introduce me to classic guys. And then, going off on your own, I love The Clash. And probably my favorite band when I was growing up was probably The Smiths and Morrissey.
Okay.
So I became a huge fan of the alt scene.
Okay.
Growing up. But today I still listen to everything. I like some of the new stuff that's out there. It's pretty good still,
Very good.
Thank God for creativity.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's go to song number 2. And it's a special treat. You're going to play live for us, which is very cool. And the song is called No Remember, All Forgotten. We'll have you play it, and then when we come back after you're done, we'll talk about it. Okay? All right, so you're hanging out with us on yourlocalnote.com. It's the Valkyrians, and it's Cris and Lou. The album is Scent of Breathlessness. The song that they're going to play for us live here, No Remember, All Forgotten, on yourlocalnote.com.
Turn around before you leave me and walk out that door. See my face, I am crying, 'cause I don't need you in my life anymore. No, I won't remember. Take your bags and don't forget the pictures you took of us. See my face, I do not want the music that you bought. No, I won't remember. Keep playing by.
All right, there you have it, the Valkyrians, and that's Cris and Lou. The song is called No Remember, All Forgotten, from their album called Scent of Breathlessness on yourlocalnote.com. Okay, guys, let's talk about what that song is about. Who wrote it? Is it did you work on this together, or who came up with the idea? Is it one of these things where, Cris, you come up with the idea and then Lou jumps in and helps out? How does that work?
I don't remember. This song's all forgotten.
This was all forgotten. We have no idea.
Okay.
No, this is my song. I wrote this, I think, pretty early while we had just kind of started playing together. It's a song about, divorce or breaking up, and splitting with someone that you have shared a significant chunk of your life with. And then denying, in order to kind of deal with the grief, sometimes we have to be in denial of the good times. We also have to be in denial of, the fact that it's over. And so it's a song about denial. Okay.
All right. Is it easier to write, as a musician, is it easier to write when your personal life is in turmoil a little bit? I mean, because the emotions are probably more out there. Do you find that is the case, that when things are tougher, it's easier for you to sit down and write stuff?
Personally, I write much more when I am in distress.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful thing to sit down with the guitar and just, create. It's very therapeutic, and you experience this sense of flow, which is, when time and space kind of just is completely diffused and you have no idea what time it is.
Right.
And you've created something at the end of it.
Okay.
And so that's for me, and I believe that's the same for you, isn't it?
I mean, I follow the Smiths and Morrissey, so I want to follow the path that I do much better in my gloom.
Okay. So, I mean, if things are going well, do you feel like, oh, geez, we can't write, I'm too happy?
I've written happy songs.
No, yeah.
And they call for, we're a children's duo. So,
right.
I mean, we write all our songs bouncy, happy, nice hooks. And we like all that stuff, too.
It's
but I
a
just
lot of fun.
Feel more power behind the dark side, I guess.
The soul-bearing songs tend to be gloomier for me. And, in my happy times, lately we've written a lot of fun children's songs.
The children's songs are all,
So we focus on that, activity and marketing and promotion and all that kind of stuff that you can do when
the fun part of business, right? Okay, so you I guess then it's good to have the two projects going.
Yeah.
Yes, we think that's fantastic because we don't have to be so gloomy on one side.
Well, also if you're maybe in that writer's block stage,
right?
Absolutely.
You can do something completely different and still be productive with that.
Cris and Lou, the children's music, we basically come up like, okay, what topics should we write about? Well, I want to write about toothbrushing. He says, I want to write about teamwork. And then we just say, okay, we have one day. And then, we get together with a draft and we create it together.
Okay.
Or we just sit down together and write it immediately.
All right, very cool. Let's talk about the album. And where did you record the album?
Cambridge Sound Studios. Although 5 of the songs on the album were recorded by session musicians in Nashville, way before the Valkyrians were formed.
Oh, okay.
So with me,
you spent some time in Nashville.
Yes.
Great city, isn't it?
Yes, it was a lot of fun. I was at the Sound Emporium studio, massive studio. Johnny Cash recorded there. It's a beautiful studio, and so 5 of the songs are recorded there, but we have redone the levels and we redone the vocals because Lou and I have a very harmonic dynamic, and we wanted to make it current and make it sound like the Valkyrians. So the vocal work that I did down in Nashville was trashed, and we redid that.
How much input did you have in the production of the album? I mean, were you right there as they were mixing it? And so
how many hours of mixing?
It was quite painful. I mean, it was a very long, arduous process, but it had to be done. I guess if you want it done right. So we had to really sit through many, many hours in the studio watching this thing get pieced together as we kept recording.
Yeah.
Did the person who was producing this for you, did they add a lot, or were they just there to listen to what you guys were looking to do and then putting it together from that?
He did a lot on the production end of it, and he put up with our nonsense, too, because we were pretty much torturing him for taking so long. But, I mean, but he did it the right way,
Okay.
Jim Solomon is a producer, and we had many late hours at the studio there, and it was so interesting because we finished laying tracks in I think the fall of 2012, and both Lou and I were like, okay, great, now we have an album, now we just need to get the cover out, and Jim was like, well, we have to mix it. We're like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. And turns out that took almost a year.
Did it really?
Right, yeah. And excruciating hours in the studio where I kind of like ended up like we all like disliked each other at the end of the night, right?
Yeah, no comment.
And walking away, not talking to each other.
Exactly.
Well, it's a stressful time.
It is.
Mixing is excruciating. It's kind of like sitting for 15 hours and doing an optical illusion test where you're like, is this better or this? And you can't tell it apart whatsoever.
Right, because it's so close.
It's so close. And Lou and I just kept saying to Jim, well, we don't speak now. Just can you say it in English and, tell us what we're listening for?
Right. Did you lay out the parts by track, or did you record it like a live show?
We tried both ways. It ended up being a track-by-track thing because our musicians changed midway through the album, too.
Oh.
So we started using Jim and some of his folks in the studio as well for the drumming. Mm-hmm. We started just assuming some of the instruments on our own with the bass and the keys and the guitars and stuff. So it just started, because it was so ever evolving and revolving, we ended up just started, doing it track by track.
Okay. All right. Are there things then that you can take from that experience for the next album that you guys are going to record?
Next time we're doing it, the whole band in the studio recording it.
I mean, if it's good enough for Rolling Stones, it should be good enough for us.
Yeah. Okay. Just rehearse a lot beforehand.
Rehearse a lot and get it tight.
Yes, get it tight. Yeah.
That's and that's again band by band or artist by artist.
Most producers say they don't want to do that because it gives them less control. Because it's not going to be perfect. And so if you play track by track and you start with the drum and then you go with the bass and you get the rhythmic sections in, they can manipulate everything on the computer.
Okay.
And for us, sometimes my main complaint was it sounds too perfect. Like, I don't want my voice to sound perfect. I don't want you to tune me. It should be breaking a little bit.
You want, because when people see you live, you want to hear
that song,
something that's similar to that.
Right.
We want to be honorable. I mean, I remember over the years bands like Jethro Tull will quote, "Oh my God, we're recording way too much that we're not going to sound like the song on stage."
Right.
So I always took that to heart and say, yeah, we'd like to sound like the song.
Right. And Ian Anderson is a fascinating guy. I had a chance to interview him.
Wonderful.
Wow, I'd love to meet him.
Yeah, he was
fascinating, man.
Yeah, it was later in his career, and he was actually concentrating more on his fish farm.
Right.
Yeah,
salmon farm, didn't he? That's fantastic.
But a very, very interesting guy. He had a lot to say about music. So funny you mentioned that. So you've been promoting this album. Do you have songs that you've written that you're ready to go?
Gosh, we have. Lou and I have like 40, 50 songs.
So we have a whole volume of songs that we could literally jump into a studio and have another album out.
Yeah.
But then how do you choose? Because you have so many. Isn't there a point where it's like, well, we have too many songs to choose from?
We could choose.
Oh, God, RJ, we could make a fifth album if we want.
Okay.
Yeah,
the money is the problem, and time. I have a 5-year-old son.
Yes, good luck with that.
And I'm also working, and he's working full time. It's...
Yeah. No, I totally relate to that. So I get that. But you're not, see, and here's the thing that happens a lot too with bands. A lot of them are doing the recording themselves because the great thing, and we're taking advantage of it, is technology is changing dramatically. And it allows you to do stuff and build studios at a much cost-effective way than 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
The children's project, we take it upon ourselves to record our own stuff.
Okay.
We have it mastered at a local studio nearby on South Street, and then we just kind of kick it out because we know the music comes out rather well there.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be so overproduced either.
Right.
The children don't care. They only can listen to production. They listen to melody and catchiness and the words.
Yeah.
As long as the quality's fine.
Right.
And it's a project. It's an honorable project because there's a lot of charities involved, and so we do get involved.
Okay.
We're trying to spark as much goodness with the children's project.
Sure.
The Valkyrians project, we're trying to be, obviously, musicians. We want to be a little bit more.
Well, you're trying to scratch that itch. I mean, that's what you this is what you love.
Yes.
So you want to follow your dreams, and that's a great thing. Okay. So do you do a lot of touring or do a lot of shows in the Philadelphia area?
Yeah, we have. We've been a little bit quiet the last 6 months or so because we were dropping the album and concentrating on just finishing that. But yeah, we have a few shows coming up. Our website is chrisvalkyria.com. Chris is No H in Cris, so CRIS.
Okay.
Valkyria.com. And you can also just Google Valkyrians or Center Breathlessness, and you'll
You can find the Valkyrians on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Valkyrians Philadelphia band, because I think there's a Bulgarian or a Belgian scum band. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're the Valkyrians. Apparently.
We don't know what's going on there.
We Googled right before we decided that was going to be our band name. We Googled it, and there was nothing there. So we're like, okay, great. But really, at the same time, these guys
Basically.
popped up.
No offense to the overseas Valkyrians.
No,
we're
they
all
seem
different Valkyrians.
probably nice guys.
Okay. Very good. So you stick around this area because I would assume it's got to be tough for you to do any type of traveling with a son.
Yes.
And you've got a full-time job, so...
I have 2 sons as well.
Okay,
I have
so
a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
it's hard to get up and just jump on the bus like we used to. We're not the young 20-some odds.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to sit in the back of a car and get paid in cases of beer. I mean, it's like...
Right.
We're too old for it. I'm too old for it. And, I like to travel nicely.
Okay.
we love to do what we do, which is actually create the music and promote it
Exactly.
and play. And God, the gigs are fantastic, but as far as like going full blast on a tour, up and down the coast or across the, I think that's just a little too much.
I mean, we'll probably do like weekend here and there if we can get a couple of shows in the same vicinity. If we can drive there, that's probably to the extent that we would be doing it.
Okay.
Although, if we get, a couple of gigs overseas, we'll go.
You'll entertain that.
Norway, Italia. I mean, we have
there.
Friends and family, and we've been called upon to do shows over there. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Do your kids? I mean, especially the 17-year-old. How does he respond to your music? Is it?
So it's funny. I mean, my 17-year-old son, he loves the. I guess I don't even know how they would genre them. I call them metal, but we're talking like Memphis Mayfire, the Avenged Sevenfold type genre. And I like that a lot as well. So him and I tend to always go back and forth. I was like, well, son, sounds a lot like this Pantera song. Why don't you listen to we go back and forth.
Sure.
So so when I play my stuff, it's kind of like, oh, Dad, that's just not cool. Not that he says it's not cool, but he's just much cooler for those things.
He's a teenager. He knows it all,
so
right?
We can't, almost. Sometimes we've been classified as adult rock, which I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so horrible. I never heard of myself known as. I never like to be classified anything, but adult rock is just like a low blow.
Yes. Okay. Very good. All right. Let's go to song number 3, and you're going to play this one live too.
Sure.
This one is called "Life of a Fraction." Yes. We'll play it again, and then we'll talk about it when you get back. Okay?
Thanks.
You're listening to yourlocalnote.com. We're hanging with the Valkyrians, Cris and Lou. We're playing some songs from their album, Scent of Breathlessness. This song is called Life of a Fraction on yourlocalnote.com.
Placid feeling covers gently, like a woolen blanket's magic warm embrace. The sunless and eternal calmness of an isolated lake without a wave. This is my compelling tale. An momentary lapsing grace from it. It does not get any better. I just wish this half an hour was infinite. this sense of ecstasy since germination. Is this a sorry or madness? I have lost my sense of telling either way. It should not get any better. I just wish this half an hour was infinite. I can't explain atmospheric friend in such little time. So many waves just pass, no decoding words, just seen as all I want. It's your cosmic castle when my aura No rhyme or reason can define this. It's too special to describe it in a song. Therefore I call it a timepiece where I half an hour lost it for life.
All right, very good job, guys. That sounded great. And the song is called Life of a Fraction, and it's from the album Scent of Breathlessness. Let's talk about Life of a Fraction. Who wrote it? What is it about?
This one's written by me. And basically, we try to enjoy life seconds at a time.
Okay.
I guess in general, I like to. Little moments are much more important than the bigger moments in life. So
Okay.
nothing's more pleasing than enjoying that little moment together.
All right, very nice. Very nice. All right, you mentioned before that you've got like 40 or 50 songs ready for another album. How many songs did you not choose that you for this album, Scent of Breathlessness, that you'll save for another album? I mean, did you have like 30, 40 songs?
We did have a lot of songs, but because I had already pre-recorded 5 songs in Nashville, and I wanted to use those recordings.
Okay.
Those are like the first 5 songs of the album.
All right, so that took care of that.
Right, and so then after that, we did discuss back and forth, but I think we kind of ended up with doing the songs that we were playing most of the time with the band.
We took it out on the live, because it was just being played mostly live.
So you would judge it on the response from the crowd? Is that how
More
you did
what
it?
the guitar player and the drummer were comfortable playing.
So it was already like in the arsenal, the guitarist and the drummer.
Okay.
Right.
And they didn't learn the other 50,000 songs that we had on
Yeah,
that.
Lou and I have a lot of songs that we play when we just play acoustic,
Okay.
representing the band. And then we typically throw all these other songs out there that the band just haven't learned yet.
Okay, so that then makes it a little bit tougher for you.
Sure.
So you almost have to have the songs that you want ready to go and know beforehand as you're playing live, so they get to know the songs.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can sit there and let's just go through all 50 and try to figure out which song.
There's been gigs where we were allowed to, we had the band on for an hour, and then Chris and I would just jump on stage, do acoustic for another hour.
Right.
By the time they ran out of, material, and we would just continue on acoustically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Does that happen often, or?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, we get hired by a bar to play all night, and then so the band will play for an hour, and Lou and I will kind of
Is that a situation that you look to remedy by maybe getting more permanent members of the band, or is it?
Well, so we have permanent members of the band. We just don't really have time to get together and rehearse as much as we want to.
Okay.
And the two other band members probably are not as crazy about playing out live as Lou and I. We would play every day for squirrels if we had to.
Okay.
You know, or for 5,000 people, or for 2 squirrels, or whatever.
Okay.
So we just love playing, and so we do that a lot.
The good thing about it, the children's project has been keeping us busy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we've been basically feeding our insatiated grave to play with children's project gigs as well.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, with both of them, with both projects, you can be out all the time.
Right.
Is this, I guess then what I want to ask you as far as the band then, you're set with the band. Would you consider just recording an album with just you two, an acoustic set?
Acoustically, possibly, or maybe multi-instrumentalist, we could do it.
Okay. Okay, so I know you play more than one instrument. You play more than one instrument?
No, I'm pretty much stuck with this one.
Okay.
Okay. But we probably would need a drummer
Okay.
to fill in. But we've been fortunate in the prior studio. There were several drummers ready to go.
Okay.
Which was nice as well.
Okay, very good. Let's just go over where people can find. I know you mentioned your website before, but let's go back and tell people where they can find your music.
So our website is chrisvalkyria.com, CrisValkyria. Nobody's going to listen to that. You could also just Google Valkyrians or Cris Valkyria and it will pop up.
Okay.
Easier. And we are on Facebook. We're on Reverb Nation. We are
Twitter?
on iTunes. We're not on Twitter.
No, we gave up on that.
You gave up on that.
Yeah.
We never did it, but we were like, by the time we did, we started off
too many
with
social medias to keep
MySpace
up.
years ago when MySpace was hot.
That is a problem. Social
Yeah.
media, trying to keep up
Social
with
media
it.
is just going nuts.
I mean, we have Instagrams, like personally, private pages where
Right.
we're going to post, some pictures from our shows and stuff like that.
That's a good thing.
So we have a hashtag Valkyrians there.
Okay.
If you want a couple of pictures.
Okay.
And that's about it, right?
Okay. And
I mean, I think the Facebook.
We're on all the album is in all the stores, like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify.
Okay.
Like 30 different stores.
Very good. Then people can go to your site and find out where you're playing. You've got a bunch of shows lined up, and
Yes.
they can find out where you're playing that, and then
In March at Shady Katie's in New Jersey.
Okay.
And we have the M Room in Philadelphia in April.
Okay.
And we have the Teen Angel in Philadelphia in May.
And the great thing is we're going to get all that information and put it on our concert calendar
Right,
so
you
people
can go to your local note and find us there.
There you go. Very cool. All right. Very good. It's been great hanging out with you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Let's talk about the last song, Venting of Sorts, and then we'll get into it and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Lou wrote that too.
Yeah, this is. I think this is a great song for those who do so good for so many and not get appreciated after a while. So I kind of took this as an opportunity to kind of say, hey, no matter what happens, I know there's a lot of people tearing at you and trying to rip you into little pieces, but you need to keep moving on no matter what.
Okay, very good. All right. Again, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're looking forward to hearing some more great music because when you get another album out, you got to come back and talk about it.
Love to see you again.
Yes, absolutely. Again, the Valkyrians, Cris and Lou, hanging out with us tonight. Just want to remind you real quickly, we'll have another brand new vidcast coming up next week as we have a new one every week here on yourlocalnote.com. Don't forget to check out the streaming. Nothing but great Philadelphia music on our stream 24/7. And then you can check out the concert calendar so you can find out where your favorite bands are playing. Wrapping things up with the Valkyrians from their album Scent of Breathlessness. The song is called Venting of Sorts on yourlocalnote.com.
Shattered, smattered, while life was on. Another jaded scar into the side of my heart. Doesn't matter to anyone, it's just what I